Okay, so the first thing you want to do is scrub all of your social media pages. Go through any photos, any posts, anything like that you wouldn't want your great grandmother, maybe your grandma's a little wild, but maybe she had your mom real young, just kidding, sorry. But yeah, just go through it because they will go through your social media. And really, you want to give them the impression of the type of employee you're going to be by who you represent, how you represent yourself towards the public. So, as much as you feel you want to pull back or whatever, that's always up to you. But I think that would be number one, all of your platforms. And also, I would beef up your LinkedIn. Maybe take down some of the your MySpace or something like that. But put some time in putting your LinkedIn and maybe making connections with some of your maybe a sorority or an alma mater, something along those lines, or even just working at Chick-fil-A and some of the people that you know from there. Just having like colleagues and people that you know outside of your regular social circle. It's good for people to see that you've kind of extended yourself beyond those types of things. Um, I think next I would say is creep, spy, and pry on yourself. So one of the ways I was able to do this was I just signed up for one of those free services that you can do background checks on people. It actually turned out to be awesome, especially if you plan on dating online. I would actually pay for the service. Just don't pay for the subscription. Wait for them to like be the second day to cancel, and they'll call you and say, "Hey, we're gonna offer it to you for like pennies on the dollar." But it's great because you can do background checks on yourself to see what pops up, and you're like, "Oh, nothing's ever happened." Well, I did it, um, and turns out like back in the day, I would inevitably lose my driver's license. My dad was like, "That's going to bite you in the ass one day," and it did. Somebody used my driver's license that they had found or stolen, whatever it is, and when they got pulled over for drugs, used my identity. It was eventually found out because we were of different races, but it wasn't like I kind of passed, I guess, in the picture for a while, or they did. I don't know, but there were drug charges, so I had to go through the court process and get all of that off of my record and show that it was, not me, and it took quite a while. So that is definitely a reason why I would just, do the free service and go and just check all of your names if you have any maiden names or anything like that. And another thing that I'll attach to this is it's not required that you have a passport. I think it's more important that you have applied for the passport and that it's on the way. And here's another reason why, even though a lot of airlines will be like, well, it's contingent training, everything like that is contingent on you getting your passport by the end of training. But really what you'd like to do is, I've found there's so many people that got pulled from training. I've been to 3 flight attendant trainings, so there were so many people that got pulled or stalled even right before or after graduation because something that their passport didn't go through. Like, let's say a parent forged something on their birth certificate, just something random that they had no idea. There was one girl that we went to school with that was a hairdresser, and her FBI fingerprints wouldn't go through because of all the chemicals that she'd had on her hands through the years doing people's hair. And it took like 3 months for her FBI check, all of that fingerprinting to come through, and much less get issued a passport. So if you get that passport process and it's like just processing, and you've got the A-OK that you got it in, it'll actually really help you out with your own background check. And also, like I said, keep that bad boy, because if you date, meet some guy online or some pilot, don't date the pilots. You can look up their background, trace stuff like that. It's good to have. Let's see here. Don't creep. Like I said, on yourself. If you point the finger, point it back at yourself. Do apply. Don't lie. Okay. Here's the thing: is they're really, 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 they would really want someone that's, even if you've had a checkered past, if you're upfront with them and you give them reasons why and things that you've done to resolve the issues, whatever they may be, they're really going to work with you. But they want you to make sure that you're giving that information to them, and also correct information. If you're like, oh, that was kind of back in the day, I had so many speeding tickets, it was like pages and pages that I had to put together and like connect the dots of the dates, and it was a pain in the ass. But once I did it and I had it saved, I had it readily available when I applied to different airlines, because they really want those exact dates. They want to know that you're taking the time to give them the correct information. They know things are going to be kind of estimated here and there, but not some of the big stuff, including your jobs. They're really not trying to catch you They're just asking you to be honest. And if there's some job where it was like irreconcilable differences, who cares? It was like, what, 10 years ago? No, maybe if it was like your last employer or your current employer, never speak badly about your current employer, then maybe that's a red flag. But a lot of that stuff, you're like, oh, my past, my past. And they really want to just know that you're willing to own up to your stuff, you know. Um, oh, also, if you have tattoos, look at the language that they're asking. Are they saying, do you have visible tattoos? Well, I said, on my first applications, yes, yes, yes. Of course, they're visible. People can see them. It means visible in uniform. So you want to go and look at their uniform on their particular aircraft that you're going to be applying, the position you're going to be applying for, and see if they have uniforms that cover your tattoos up. If you have anything that peak and everything like that, you're gonna have to look and see if they'll let you cover it up with makeup. And no, there's none that I know. I know my first class with Delta, they were the first class that they were considering letting us use like theater makeup, and I don't know what their policies are afterwards. So. There are a lot of changes towards that, but you need to look and see because if it's going to be visible in their uniform, then I wouldn't apply for the position because we're supposed to be carrying ourselves with integrity, right? I don't know. Or you can see, if there is a way that you can get away with it and say, hey, go in there and say, I've covered it up and this is what it looks like covered up. Is that satisfactory to you? Yeah. Again, that karma, man. Don't mess with it. And then I think the last one on here I was going to say is just don't pop on a federal. When I say pop, if you've been smoking the reefer, it's a-okay. It's just not okay to do it while, currently, even though it's legal in some states and what have you, and there's no judgment, it's just you can't be impaired. This is a security, safety, sensitive position. So right now we're going to go ahead and go by their laws. And if you've been smoking it, just get it out of your system. But what I'm saying is do not go in there wondering, oh, well, I may or I'm not, or trying to fake it or something like that. Because if you fail a Department of Transportation drug test, like that can affect your jobs for the rest of your life. Do you want to be a paramedic, a Bella baby photographer, just a newborn hospital photographer? It's security clearance type of stuff. So just definitely make sure, even if you've got to put off training and say, hey, you don't have to tell them, but I'd much rather say, you know what, I got to put this off because I want to make sure I pass that drug test, or just make something up. But yeah, don't mess around, because what if you decide you don't want to be a flight attendant, or I'm just saying, just consider the consequences. And then one of my bonus tips is, because it is going to take a while, it took a lot longer for me than I thought it would, this is just a tip to kind of get yourself in the mindset, because we always want to act as if. And I would just say go ahead and set all of your clocks and watches to military time, so that you kind of get into the mindset of telling time and speaking time and computing time, because there's a little math, and sometimes I had to learn how to add versus subtract. Some people subtract. There's also sorts of tips and tricks, but it's just integrating it in your life. It's kind of like learning a new language, but once you just understand it, that it's always, so it's always AM or PM and you can never get it mixed up, then it makes a lot more sense. So anyways, I hope this helps, and I look forward to your comments to see how I can make this, further videos to help you step by step as we go through. All right, bye-bye.